Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier is next week. The odds are almost even on this fight, and I actually think that's pretty fair because I think this is going to be a really close fight. But the reason I think Max Holloway is going to be able to pull this off is some of the circumstances surrounding his previous fights with Dustin Poirier. I'm not trying to give Max Holloway too many excuses, but at 155, when he came up to fight Dustin Poirier, as we all know, he was not the same lightweight as he was against Gaethje. He was pretty much a featherweight who just wasn't cutting weight. When he took the time to adjust and go up to 155, put on that muscle and stay lean, he performed way better. And I think Max Holloway, a big part of this new matchup is going to be the power. Dustin Poirier is going to have a lot more power coming his way than their last fight. But I think we all know this fight's going to take place on the feet the entire time. I highly doubt either of these guys are going to try to shoot a takedown on each other. So let's break down the striking. Max Holloway's the taller guy, but Dustin Poirier actually has a considerable reach advantage. In the stand-up, no one's really going to have too much of an advantage in range. We kind of saw that in the first fight as well. If anything, Dustin Poirier had more of an advantage in the range. But I think the big difference in this fight mostly is the speed. I think Max Holloway's quicker than Dustin Poirier by a lot. One of the good parts of Max Holloway's game is his footwork, and I think that's what he's going to really rely on this fight if he wants to win. Dustin Poirier has power, and we saw in the first fight, he was rocking Max Holloway. I think it's going to be a little bit different. I think Holloway's chin will be slightly better because of the fact that he's adjusting, but we don't know. He did get sparked out cold by Poirier. He could be chinny, and I think not staying in the pocket with Dustin Poirier is important. That's where I think Dustin Poirier is the best, and Max Holloway does not have the greatest head movement. I think if Max Holloway wants to win this on the feet, I think he needs to do a lot of in and out circling, kind of baiting Dustin Poirier into throwing stuff and getting out of range, trying to hit Poirier and not get hit. Because if this comes down to a slugfest, I probably would slightly lean towards Poirier. I think he's a little bit more durable, and I think he has more power. But another part of this is where they're at in their careers. Dustin Poirier is on his retirement fight. He's 36 years old. He's taken a lot of damage. He's had brutal fights against Islam Makhachev, got knocked out cold by Justin Gaethje. And Max Holloway, yeah, he suffered a brutal knockout against Poirier, but he's 33 years old. He's still in his prime, and he looked good in that Poirier fight, even though he got knocked out cold. In the rounds earlier, he was going pretty much tit for tat with Ilia Topuria, the best boxer in the UFC. And I think he's going to look even better at 155. We saw with the Justin Gaethje fight, he completely outclassed Justin Gaethje. The later this fight goes on, the more I'm leaning towards Max Holloway. Dustin Poirier has great cardio as well, but Max Holloway just takes it to another level. And in that Gaethje fight, he proved that he can carry knockout power in the very end of the fight. So I think in this fight, Max Holloway has a lot of physical advantages on his side. He has the younger age. He has the better cardio, I think. I think he's quicker. I think he'll be able to avoid more strikes than Poirier can. And I think he'll be able to land more damage. I think the main thing with this fight is we know Max Holloway's kind of a guy that needs to get the ball rolling. And I think the biggest problem in their last fight was that Dustin Poirier tagged Max Holloway early and rocked him. I think for Max Holloway to win this fight, one of the things he's going to definitely need to do is not get tagged in the first round. I think if Dustin Poirier hurts him in the first round, that's kind of going to set the tone for the fight. And I think Max Holloway is going to struggle to engage with Dustin Poirier and have confidence in his striking if he gets tagged in the first round. But the way I think this fight goes down is that I think it's going to be a slower paced fight, especially in the beginning. And I think they're going to have back and forth exchanges, but I don't think it's going to be at a very high pace. And I think there is a possibility both of them get in a little bit of trouble sometime throughout the fight, but for the most part, I think it's going to be actually not as high paced or as much of a war as maybe you think. And ultimately, I think this fight's going to end up going down to decision. And I trust Max Holloway a little bit more than Poirier at this stage in their career to get the win. I don't think it's going to be as decisive as a win as Holloway's win over Gaethje. I don't think he's going to win every single round and get a knockout, but I could see Max Holloway winning 4 rounds to 1 or 3 rounds to 2. But I still think this fight could really go either way. These guys are really well matched up. And the fact that, they're both probably going to stay on the feet the entire time is going to make this fight really interesting.